Lord have mercy. The Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want.
There's no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. Because at least as a rich man, when I have to face my problems, I show up in the back of a limo wearing a $2,000 suit and a $40,000 gold fucking watch.
You didn't put in on this, man.
Better get a receipt, my brother.
Before we get started, you got to know, I'm not a licensed attorney or tax expert. I do this for educational and informational purposes only. This is based on my first-hand knowledge and beliefs. Some people want to know what makes me qualified. What makes me qualified to do this? What makes me qualified? So, first thing that makes me qualified, I would say, is the titanium black card. It's titanium. That's one way I get to live this life, is through utilizing and leveraging credit from my business. So that is one way that I'm able to utilize my credit and live this life. Peace and love to the people just joining me in the chat, the interactive chat. Let me know if you can hear me. Now, so I got the Centurion black card. I chose to go with American Express. Okay. Also, how I travel is with a traveler's ID. It's an international traveler's identification. Peace and love, one scenic way. Peace and love. Peace and love, Robbins. So this is the traveler's ID. I use the traveler's ID. This is my identification. This is how I get with tax exemption. My tax exemption number's on it. I don't even have to tell them anything. I just point to it because they can read. I don't tell them anything. I don't make contracts with anything. I say you can read, right? But I've been a member. I don't know if you can see that. I've been a member since 2019. The end of 2019. I've been a member for about a year. So what I want to go over. So yesterday, like I said, I'm not a licensed attorney or tax expert, just for educational and informational purposes only. What I believe is that everybody is utilizing the UCC ones all the way wrong. They're not utilizing them correctly, and they're truly not getting any redemption. You might see some successes with it, with the way that the gurus are giving you. But you're not going to get beyond a few small successes and some debt offsetting. You're not going to be able to build real wealth with it. You're not going to be able to build generational wealth with it unless you're creating a true trust. A true trust that you're funding and operating in commerce with and having corporations and holding companies established. So every first Friday and Saturday, we have this OID class at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. $1,200 donation is required if you want to interact with this, and the book will come included. If you don't want to join, the interactive class, you don't want to work with your boy one-on-one, because I will work with you one-on-one after the class if you decide to move forward. For a piece of the pie, of course, a small percentage, nothing major. But only if you join the class. That's how I get to know you. That's how I know you're serious. Once you join the class, you have access to the class for as long as the lifetime of the class. So welcome to your corporate education, 1099 OID. We are not licensed attorneys or tax experts. This is solely for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Peace and love to everybody joining me today, right now, in the chat. Peace and love, Carol. Peace and love, Brian. Now, yesterday we went over the confiscation of the gold. HJR 192, this is real. Presidential Executive Order 6102 by FDR. Okay? We went over basically the history and why the 1099 OID works. And basically it's gambling proceeds because everything's based on your labor. When you get debt, they're gambling that you're going to work. That's a gamble. They're taking a risk. You're going to pay them back with your labor. Your labor is given to you in forms of paper. It's not real. All credit comes from you regardless. If you get the book from TheDonKilam.com and all the members got the book, all the information is in the book that we're going over. Today I'm going to start again on page 47. And then we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of things. We're going to get down to the bones and meat tonight. Now, HJR 192 took away the gold in exchange to prepay all of your debts, past, present, and future. They took away your gold. So they took the gold away and they had to give you something back. They had to give something back. They can't just take it. They have to give you something back in return. So they took this and in return, they said, we're going to pay your debts, all past, present, and future. You give us your birthrights, we'll let you trade with us. So you give us your birthrights, you're no longer a Native American. You're black or you're white. You're part of the game, color of law. You follow me? This is how this stuff ties in. So they took away the gold, everybody that had gold, all the banks that had gold, and the people that had gold, because we're all private bankers, we're all doing private business. And in exchange, they said, we're going to prepay all your debt, past, present, and future. We're bankrupt. So in order for the government to keep going on, we're going to have to go off your credit. What they don't tell you is, you have to do the bookkeeping. You have to do the bookkeeping. You have to assess the tax and do the bookkeeping or you don't get it back. How does anybody know how to give you your money back? How do they know how to give you what's yours? How do they know how to give you the prepaid debt back if they don't know that you're actually operating out here? So it's not a tax until you assess the tax. And why do you have to assess the tax? Because you own the credit that the corporations or the government is using. So this makes you the creditor in fact. You are identified as the payer and themselves as the recipient of the funds on all corporate and government filings that you're operating with, that you're contracting with and becoming partners with for your sole proprietorship. Because your name is a sole proprietorship until you update your status. So publication 1212 goes deep into the guide to the original issue discount instrument, okay? Because the 1099 OID is an instrument. We just think stuff is just paper and forms. These are instruments. These are considered instruments. Credit and debt instruments, okay? So on page 7 of publication 1212, it states, if you are the holder of an OID debt instrument and you receive a form 1099 OID that shows your taxpayer identification number, which is the social, and that includes amounts belonging to another person, you are considered a nominee. Now, if it's a corporation doing it, their taxpayer identification number is their EIN, their employee identification number. And once you get your status corrected on the public side, you should have an EIN number as well. So, you must file another 1099 OID for each actual owner, showing the OID for the owner. You show the owner of the debt instrument as the recipient and you as the payer. Complete form 1099 OID and Form 1096 and file the forms with the Internal Revenue Service Center for your area. You must also give a copy of the Form 1099 OID to the actual owner. However, you are not required to file a nominee return to show amounts belonging to your spouse. See the Form 1099 OID instructions for more information. So the nominee is just the middleman. That's all the nominee is. It's the middleman. So you need to understand what are the amounts that are belonging to another person. When it talks about the amounts that are belonging to another person, person means corporation as well, okay? Because you're operating in commerce. The amount that's belonging to another person, that is the amount of the so-called debt instrument or the bill. So if U.S. Bank or mortgage says you owe them $200,000, that is the amount that's belonging to another person. That's the debt instrument. This debt instrument is worth $200,000 because they said they're going to pay it. They signed off and said they're going to pay it. If you have a mortgage, you signed off, say I'm the mortgage company, and I just signed a promissory note with you, and you say you're going to pay me $200,000 to this corporation. That is a debt instrument. That is the actual debt instrument. You signed off and you said you're going to pay it, so that's good. Now I can go securitize it and get more loans on it, especially if you have good credit. So the amount belonging to another person when they're stating this, and as the nominee, that is the amount of the bills. That's the amount of the debt instrument from the corporation and bank every month for the use of your credit as a nominee for you. Peace and love, peace and love. So you are the payer and you are the beneficial owner because they are using your trust. They're using your sole proprietorship's credit. And it does not become a tax until you assess it. And the way you assess it is by filing the correct forms. And when you file the forms, you put pay to the order of the United States Department of Treasury because that's who's doing the bookkeeping. So everything's going through. That's who's doing everything. So all the payment goes to them and they issue a check. When you have a business, you take it to your bookkeeper. You have a business, you take it to your bookkeeper, your accountant. They file the taxes and then they send the money to you. You understand? They get the check and send the money to you. So the same way, this is what you do with the Treasury. They're your bookkeepers. The IRS is your bookkeepers. The Department of Treasury cash you out. Taxes supersede contract law due to the bankruptcy. Understand this. Everything is a tax issue. Everything. Before it goes to court, it's going to be done with forms. These are tax issues. These are negotiable instruments. So you're considered, you use money, those are Federal Reserve notes, you're considered a tax expert already. And you got to also understand contract law. So there's tax law, then there's contract law. But tax laws supersede contract law. This is why it works when it's done correctly and your status is updated. So first thing we're going to go over today, we're going to go over the cover letter. But like I said, you must make sure that your status is corrected up first. So let's go over status first. So examples of status, we use court, for example. Examples of status is such as plaintiff, that's the status. Defendant, that's their status. Attorney, that's a status. A called witness, that's a status. Friends of the court, that's a status. You understand? If you're single, that's a status. If you're married, that's a status. If you're black, that's a status. If you're white, that's a status. If you're Native American, that's a status. So what is your title in court? Who are you? Are you a slave? Who are you? What's your status? When you're dealing with agencies and attorneys, agent means same thing. Agents mean the same thing as attorneys, okay? And they act only on behalf of a corporation. They only function on behalf of the corporate world and any corporation's needs as an agent. And anywhere there's an agent, there's a principal. So there has to be a registered office and a registered agent to receive service or process. And understand this. Please understand this. When there's a trust already established, the trustees can only do their job. They cannot act outside the trust, or they would be violating their terms of office, or they're violating the terms of the trust and they can no longer be trustee. This is why it's important to understand the rules and understand the terms and conditions of the contracts. Understand the terms and conditions of the trust. You are presumed to be a dead entity, acting in capacity for the principal, for the all-cap straw man name, which would be your sole proprietorship. So we're going to quit calling it straw man name today. We're going to call it sole proprietorship. If you don't know what a sole proprietorship is, look it up. This means you're attached to the business. There's no distinction between the business debts and your debts. And if the business gets in trouble, you get in trouble. And I'm going to show you how to get out of that capacity today. The simple and quickest way. There's more to it, of course. You become a member, we get into all of that. So, to get out of situations, you must sever the ties or take ownership of the estate. You got to understand what attorney means. Attorney means to turn over. To turn over. Attorney is an agent or something authorized to act for another. I'll say that again. An attorney is an agent or something authorized to act for another. So you got to understand why it's important to do attorney in facts. That's an alternate legal appointed legal rep or surrogate, okay? Attorney in fact. They can act on your behalf because these are attorneys in fiction that you think are real attorneys. And understand the flag. You know, that's with court too. Understand the flag. Understand the grantors and beneficiaries. Understand what that is. Now, my name, when you go, the actual straw man name. And I will show people. I'm going to show you on the screen for my students that I'm screen sharing with. I'm just looking for the actual certificate. My name is a corporation. I won't even say corporation. My name is a company. My name is created as a company. And here's a certificate of good standing right here. It's with the state of Missouri. Jeffrey Wayne McBride Jr., LLC. This was the straw man name that was given to me. So, what I did with my name is I turned it into a LLC. And when you start to dig deep into it, you'll understand the definitions of children and parent. A parent is a parent who rents, and children mean property of a corporation. So my kids are, I can also do business as my kids' names. I got DBA under my kids' names. You understand? And that's one way to get out of child support once you know how to file the proper paperwork, the accounting, because everything is taxes. And we went over that yesterday as well. All courts are tax courts. And that's also in the book. And that's 28 U.S.C. 3002, subsection 2. All courts are tax courts. I'll pull that up and get into really fast before we get into my name. So I can verbatim it. I can read it to you. I'm going to keep saying it till this stuff makes sense. So first and foremost, 28 U.S.C. 3002. These are the definitions of the federal courts, United States courts. When you go to 15A, United States means federal corporation. Again, United States means federal corporation. If you go to 3, debt means an amount that is owed to the United States. Again, debt means an amount that is owed to the United States. Subsection 2, court means any court created by the Congress of the United States, excluding the United States Tax Court. Court means any court created by the Congress of the United States, excluding the United States Tax Court. So these are the definitions of the United States codes, okay? So first, United States is a federal corporation. 2, a debt is an amount that's owed to the United States. Lastly, if you go to court, if it's not created by Congress, then it is a tax court. So that has to do with corporations and tax issues, period. You got a debt, you owe the United States, which is a corporation, so it's a tax issue, period. Understand that. You can't have status unless you're operating from not a sole proprietorship perspective. Again, I'm going to go over what sole proprietorship means. I'm going to say it to y'all understand it. I need y'all to understand it. Sole proprietorship is the simplest business form under which one can operate a business. The sole proprietorship is not a legal entity. It simply refers to a person who owns the business and is personally responsible for its debts. So regardless, if you got a social security number, you got a birth certificate, you're operating in business. This birth certificate shows that you're the beneficial owner. You receive the benefits, And then the sole proprietor, social, that's the banking. It shows you have a sole proprietorship business. So that shows you own the business and you're personally responsible for its debts. You have an ID. This shows that you gave everything over to the state and now you work for them. You gave all your businesses over. You gave your business over. You gave your assets. You gave everything over to the state and now you work for the state. You no longer work for yourself. Do you understand? Now, back to my name that I operate and I'm a member of. You understand? I'm a CEO, Chief Executive Officer. Jeffrey Wayne McBride Jr. LLC is a trust bank. A trust bank doing business in Missouri. It's on active status. This is how you start to begin to build business credit. When you get an LLC, they give you articles of organization. This is what you use to open up a bank account. The purposes for mine is I'm a motivational speaker, but it's also operating as a trust bank. I just want y'all to see that so y'all know it's real. I'm not just out here walking it. I'm walking it like I talk it. And I got plenty of more businesses. Or I'm share owners or I'm partners. There's so many different titles and different positions that you could play. So you don't even have to put everything on the record. You don't even have, there's ways you can move without putting your name on the record. Now, I showed y'all that. That's a certificate. That's me right there. That's a certificate. I also got an LLC on the Kilam. So before we get started, the 1099 OIDs, like I said, you gotta make sure you're operating from having your status updated properly. And then on the private side, that's your person, because you're operating on different levels. You got your spirit, you got your mind, you got your body. So on the cover letters first, you let them know, depending on your location, where to send it. Us personally, where I would send it is Kansas City, Missouri, or Ogden, Utah, or even Covington. Where's it? Covington, Kentucky. Dear Senior Supervisor, I did file all the federal tax forms, the 1040, 1099 OID, and the 1096 that I have records for, but I've lost most documents pertaining to these tax filings. I request that you prepare and file for my federal tax forms, 1040 and the 1099 OID, and all the returns that are due, past and present. Please file the liabilities and taxable income to me, but omit filing or posting deductions against the taxable income to me, making adjustments to dilute the liability on taxable income, as that is a conflict of interest. This request is for return to the source for settlement and closing in exchange for the Treasury Direct number. Then you would put your social. Also in the 1099 OID on the correction box at the top, please check. And also the Treasury Direct number, put your social, is to be placed as the account number at the bottom of the 1099 OID on the recipient to prevent identity theft and the account being intercepted and diverted or deferred if left open. Respectfully, you put your name, your social, and put by the authorized representative. Now, you do all this. If you was to file a 1099-C, I have a 1099-C in front of me. This is one form to cancel out debt, cancellation of debt. 1099-C, but first you're going to have to fill out the 1099-A. And then the cover letter for the 1099-A is going to be, this is what I would do. This is what I would do. This is what works for me, has worked for many others. The 1096, I'm not a licensed attorney or tax expert. The Form 1096, you can get these from the IRS website or go to the Internal Revenue Service yourself. That's the 1096. And 1099 OID, that's what it looks like. You have to have these forms unless you're filing online. There's ways you can file it online as well. Get the actual forms. I don't know if I got any 1099As left. And then this right here is an authorization form. Some people like to use the TDA authorization form. But you have to get this signed at your bank with a medallion stamp. But it's not necessary, okay? What I forgot is the very top page. The very top page is going to be this form right here. And you can print this form off. It's the 8281. Form 8281. And we'll go over that really fast. So, it's going to ask for the issuer's name and the issuer's tax identification number. That's where I'll put my name and then the TDA number, your social. You put the social like it's the EIN though, you know, 12-345678. You put the address, and if your business establishes status correctly, we go over how to establish your business correctly with the proper status correction. This is the status correction address that you want to use. The city, state. It's going to ask for the name of the representative. You can put a DBA name in if you're operating under a DBA, however you want to do that. And also a different address if you have another DBA address, okay? Put that in there. Then it's going to ask for the debt instrument information. It's going to ask for a QSIP number, okay? Now, if you have it, great. Go, use it. Utilize it. If not, you can also turn your social security card over, and then there's a QSIP number there, okay? That's a QSIP number. And then you attach this to each 1099 OID, every single one that you fill out. Every single one. You need a single one. It's just like a cover letter as well. Okay? And just attach that to the 1096. Again, if you find this information of value, leave a donation at TheDonKilam.com/donate. The Cash App's MoreBeauty7, MOORBEAUTY7. So the 1096 is pretty easy. Utilize your name, your address, not yours per se, but the business that you're utilizing. Your name is going to be the sole proprietorship, and when you switch it over to a LLC or C Corp, you should be utilizing it, and it shouldn't be attached to anything physical. You understand? Do you understand? Because if it's attached to anything physical, then they can say you're real and everything is real. You can't contract with stuff that's not real, if that makes sense. They become real by contracting with you. Do you understand? Now, the name of the person to contact is going to be the name of the business. The employee identification number is going to be the social without dashes. Or the employee identification number is the without the dashes. The social security number is with the dashes. And then the total number of the forms. That's the total number of the pages. That's number 3. Number 4 is the total number of all the 1099 OIDs. The number 5 is from box 4. It's pretty simple. It's pretty clarified. Now with the 1040, with the 1040s, do what the instructions tell you to do. W-2s are a bill, and they will be entered on line 7. The W-2s are a bill. Okay, you got to understand that they are a bill. What is a bill? Start looking this up, see what a bill is. Everything's a bill. A dollar bill is a bill. An indictment's a bill. A warrant's a bill. On the W-2, there are entries for the city, state, Fed, SS, the Social Security number, FICA taxes that will be entered on the own 1099 OID. So if you have any 1099s from folks that you have done work for, enter that 1099 on line 21. There will be no harm to the small shop that you did work for because they did not withhold any taxes from you. This is from anybody that withholds taxes. All debts prepaid. You got to understand. On the 1040 form, make sure you put the name of your sole proprietorship. First and last name. Put the social on there. The address, like we said, the name of the business. Check single. If you're married, check married. If you married the business, you married the business. And then 21, it's going to say other income. You put C 1099 OID from 1096. Now, if you've already done this, you just do an amendment. An amendment to the 1040, which is a 1040X, I do believe. I'm looking it up for you right now. Yeah, 1040X. This is amended U.S. individual income tax return. Then the next thing you're going to do, and there's another process with the 1041, alright? This is to close out everything. But this is just for the OID right now. Now you skip down to 64. Federal income tax withheld from forms W-2 and the 1099. It's everything from the 1090 to 1096, and you just put C attached on it. And then it's your signature in all capitalized letters. Then put the date, and then your occupation as the authorized representative. Another way, it said, so here's another way. If you're not sure about the way to file, then put all your receipts, the 1099, the W-2, whatever you want to file with them, into an envelope of proper size. Make sure that you keep a copy for yourself and send this letter with the receipts, the 1099s, the W-2, whatever you want to file with them, with instructions to the IRS to file for you. That's simple and safe. So you say, dear agent, dear IRS agent, and make sure you date it as the principal and owner of the Treasury Direct account, and then your social and your name. I request you file the federal tax forms, the 1040, 1099 OID, and 1096 for tax period years in question, and any other returns that are due from me. Please file the liabilities as taxable income to me, but omit filing or posting deductions against the taxable income to me, or making adjustments to dilute the liability on taxable income, as this is a conflict of interest. The request is for return for settlement and closing in exchange for the Treasury Direct account number. And then put your social. On the 1099 OID, the correction box at the top should be checked, and also the Treasury Direct number is to be placed at the account number at the bottom of the 1099 OID form. And like I said, if you're utilizing any TDA forms or any with them, if you don't understand, if you understand what the signature guarantee or the medallion stamp is, you should utilize it on any documents with signing. The medallion stamp or banker's signature guarantee can be obtained from your bank for free in most cases, and this acts as a notary but for banking purposes. It's for exchangement of securities. Now when you do returns for the tax or for the states of the trust, then you do the 1041. It's a whole different class though. Now you do include a 1040V. A 1040V is a payment voucher. It is a payment voucher. I got one somewhere. This is what the 1040V looks like. You can get these free online as well. You cut off the bottom and you attach this to any of the bills that you have. This is the payment voucher. But you do this for the full amount of the OID. This is what we would do. The full amount of whatever is owed to you for the OID. We went over the 8281. So you got to understand. I'm going to go over this again. I'm on page 75 if you follow along with the book. You can get the book at DonKilam.com. DonKilam.com. It's on the home page. Just scroll down. It's the 1099 OID book. $200 donation. The U.S. Department of Treasury is the bookkeepers for the United States Corporation. Unless you record the return of the tax, then they cannot do the bookkeeping on it. Unless you... My apologies. I got one of my cameras dying. So the U.S. Department of Treasury is the bookkeepers for the United States Corporation. Unless you record the return of the tax, then they cannot do the bookkeeping on it. So this is why the Treasury's books are messed up. That's why the Treasury's books are off balance. That's why the payables and receivables are off balance. Because they cannot pay the payables, which is due to the people. They cannot pay the people because they have not filed the correct paperwork to get the refund on the credit that they are giving away. After 36 months, the corporation and bankers come in as the nominee and use your taxpayer identification number on the 1099-A, utilizing the debt instrument as abandoned property because you never claimed it. Whoever claims it owns it. So before doing the OID process, you have to notify the corporations that utilize your credit. And you send them a blank W-9 requesting to see their tax identification number as you fill this out when starting any new bank account. They ask you for this when starting any new bank account. We attach this to any form when dealing with corporations utilizing our credit. So understand this. So when they give you a presentment, that amount on there is the amount of the credit they are using, and that shall be represented as a tax when the tax is assessed. Then it becomes a tax issue and a tax matter, then it becomes a return. When you show the corporations as recipient of the funds, then the IRS shall issue you a refund. So you got to understand, until you assess it, you do owe them. You owe that amount until you assess it. You accept the claim, I do owe you that. I accept that. I accept it for value. Then you accept it as a tax. Then it becomes a tax issue. Then it becomes a return. When you show the corporations as recipient of the funds, then the IRS shall issue you a refund. If you do not do this, then you abandon the funds and the 1099-A is filed by the corporations. And the funds go to the corporations that file the 1099-A. So they get paid twice. The debt instrument is yours. So you have to claim it. You have to claim it as yours. And they give you the debt instrument. Then you have to claim it with the IRS. How does the IRS know anything? The corporations ain't going to file it unless you tell them. They're doing your bookkeeping. They're managing your credit. They're managing your funds. They're managing your private bank for your sole proprietorship. This is your business. This is your business, people, so you got to wake up and learn this. This is your business. I'm going to say it one more time because this is as simple as it can get. The amount, if they send you a bill in the mail, you got any debt in the mail, that amount on that is the credit they are using. And that shall be represented as a tax. When you assess it, then this makes it a tax issue and a tax matter. Then it becomes a return. When you show the corporations as recipient of the funds, then the IRS shall issue you a refund. If you do not do this, then you abandon the funds, and the 1099-A is filed by the corporations, and the funds go to the corporation that filed the 1099-A. The corporations are always filing as a nominee for the true owner when you sign over the rights to your sole proprietorship business, which is your name and your credit. Everything is a tax issue under the Bankruptcy of the United States Corporations. 28 U.S.C. 3002. Look it up. All courts are tax courts. The United States is a federal corporation. All debt is amounts owed to the United States corporation. Everything was sold to you when you stamped your foot, the sole of your foot. Your parents sold you and your beneficial interest to the United States corporations. State, I don't care if it's the state. The United States owns the states. That's also in 28 U.S.C. 2002. States, that's section 14. States means the United States. So when you are born, a birth certificate is created. A birth certificate is simply put, a title of ownership, which was created to show that you have beneficial interest on everything that you shall own. Sole means one. The Constitution is considered to be an express trust. All the courts are tax courts. When we go to 14, state means any of the several states. The District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, the Commonwealth of the Northern Marinas, or any territory or possession of the United States. So, first, I gotta let you know, once again, this is not meant to be legal or tax advice. I'm presenting this information to you to give you a greater understanding of how this remedy works so you can make your own decisions on how to proceed in life. So, the 1099-A. Before you begin, please keep in mind there are 3 forms on each sheet of the 1099-A. This is also true for the 1099 OID. But until recently, there used to be 2 forms to fill out. But that don't change anything, okay? So starting with the first box labeled lender's name, enter your sole proprietorship's name, address, etc., or the information as it's recorded on your bill. Number 2, lender's federal ID. Enter your social security, your SSN, in the EIN format. 12-3456789. Borrower's ID. Enter the borrower's or the biller's EIN. This may be available on your wages and income statement received from the IRS if unknown, leave blank. But you do have to request it first. That's the remedy. You have to request it first. You can do that with the W-9. Borrower's name. Enter the information of whoever was paid, the debtor or the biller. If for a court case, enter the judge's or prosecutor's name. The address will be the headquarters of the debtor or the address of the court proceedings. Number 5, account number. Here, you will be tracking the account number or the account and routing number for a bank transaction. Enter the case number for a court case. Now you go back to the top of the 1099-A. The date of the lenders. This will be the date of your last statement or bill received for the following year. For a mortgage, card note, or other transaction with a promissory note attached, this will be the date you signed for the note. For a court case, this will be the date the case was filed using the opposing attorney as debtor. This will be the date judgment was issued and the name of the judge as debtor for cases where judgment has been passed. For debts listed on your credit reports, enter the date you access your report. Box 2, balance of principal outstanding. This will be the total payments and or deposits made to the account or vendor that year. For a promissory note or a mortgage, that's the value of the note and the mortgage. Now, there's more to the promissory note, more to the mortgage, and this is going to be a Form 1066, which that is also another class, foreclosure class. Please note, for promissory notes, mortgage transactions, the value of the note will be one claimed filed on your 1099s. The total payment is made to that account will be a separate claim. Peace and love, peace and love. Everybody that was on the Instagram. Now, there's some stuff that you need to really understand. So box 4 is the fair market value of property. Enter the total from box 2. Box 5, you check yes. Box 6 is the description of property. So you enter the following based on the type of transaction. Credit used on checking, account savings, account, court, judgment, mortgages, notes, car notes, utility bills, rental agreements, whatever it is. But make sure you have an account or tracking number with them if you have it. Also, with regards to notes, please be sure to differentiate your description that one can claim is for the note. With regards to the note, please be sure to differentiate your description that one claim is for the note and one is for the payments. Example, John enters credit used on mortgage note for the note itself and credit used on mortgage account for the payment made. Once completed, the information on these Forms 1099-A need to be entered onto a Form 1096. This form will serve as the cover letter for your completed Form 1099-A. Now that's the 1099-A. And Peace and love. I appreciate everybody that's leaving donations right now on the Cash App. Peace and love. I appreciate it. Peace and love, Fresno. Peace and love. Peace and love, media. Peace and love, Brother Jay. Peace and love, El Hank. Peace and love, Zaire. Peace and love, Mike L. Peace and love, Ralph. Peace and love, Marcus Bay. Peace and love, Silver Bay. Peace and love, Merlife. Peace and love, the Black Illuminati. Peace and love, Vargas L. I appreciate the donations, man. Much peace and love. You can leave a donation as well if you find this information valuable by going to donkilam.com/donate. That's donkilam.com/donate. The Cash App is MoreBeauty7. Before we get into the 1099 OID instructions, I am coming to a city near you. I'm coming to a city near you right now in the Los Angeles area. If you're looking to schedule a private meeting, become a private member at DonKilam.com now. Or in order to schedule a private meeting, just reach out to me directly at 407-274-5161. Again, that's 407-274-5161. Also, every Sunday, we're going to have Sunday School. I Am More Excellent Sunday School, weekly chat, open to the public with Malik Kilam. Every 10 p.m. Central Standard Time and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. So that will be tomorrow. The dial-in number is 339-209-6935. That's tomorrow. The dial-in number is going to be 339-209-6935. That is open to the public every Sunday. Now, every Monday, we're going to be doing color of law discussions. Every Sunday, and that's going to be at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. If you want to join that class, you're going to need to do a weekly donation of $10, and the weekly donation of $10 is the MoreBeauty7, MoorBeauty7. Again, that's MoorBeauty7. Okay, you don't want to miss that whatsoever. I'm coming to a city near you, Don Kilam. Go to the website. There should also be a coupon code in the description box if you're following along on the YouTube. September 12th will be in San Diego, California. September 22nd, we're in Dallas, Texas. September 25th, we're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. October 10th, we're in Columbus, Ohio. October 14th, we're in Detroit, Michigan. October 17th, we're in Chicago, Illinois. October 24th, we're in St. Paul, Minnesota. November 1st, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. November 7th, we're back in Texas and Houston. November 14th, we're in Denver, Colorado. November 21st, we're back in Las Vegas. December 1st, we're in Honolulu, Hawaii. What's good, Honolulu? Phoenix, Arizona, December 12th. And then we're in Fresno, California, December 19th. You don't want to miss it. Sign up now at DonKilam.com. Just scroll down on the homepage or go to scheduled events. DonKilam.com/scheduled-events. That's how you get there directly. Look us up on YouTube. You can just click the links. Now back, how to fill out the 1099 OID. So the Form 1096 instructions for the Form 1099A, we'll cover that really fast. Because this is the cover letter. And it's pretty simple. You put out the filer's name. This portion can remain blank. Only the contact person is needed. Name or person to contact. That would be your natural person's information, the authorized representative, or if you have a corporation set up with correctly, you file that with the Form 56 or the Form 2848, which is the power of attorney. And you enter the appropriate contact person and an appropriated authorized representative. So you can enter this information. You can create a whole different persona with a whole nother corporation and enter that in as your appointed authorized representative. Box 1 is the EIN. You leave that blank. Box 2 is the social, the SSN number with dashes. Box 3 is the total number of forms. Please note, each sheet of the Form 1099A has 3 forms. So this entry will be the number of forms you actually filled out. Box 4 and Box 5, you leave blank. Box 6, enter an X in the only one box. Place an X, not a check mark, in the box labeled 1099A. Box 7, if this is your final return, place an X in the box indicated as this will be your final return for the year. This would be left unchecked if you were doing this process on a monthly or quarterly basis. Sign the form as the authorized representative and date it. And then you're done. Gather all your completed forms and referring to the instructions on the Form 1096, mail all the originals to the IRS. It is highly suggested you make and scan in or copy all your sheets for your records before mailing, even though you have the carbon copies that are attached to each sheet. This mailing would serve as notice to the IRS and precede your Forms 1099 OID and 1040 filing. Now let's move on to the Form 1099 OID process. So you send this stuff off first before you even get started with the 1099 OID. So how to fill out the 1099 OID. Now that you have completed the Forms 1099A and you've given the IRS time to investigate your claims, 2 weeks should be sufficient, you are ready to proceed with the Forms 1099 OID. This form is used to request the funds recorded on the Forms 1099A to be moved from the debtor vendor's biller's account to your treasury account, and then issued back to you in the form of a refund, because you claim these debt notes. You claim them back. You will need the copies of your Forms 1099A to ensure your Forms 1099 OID are filled out correctly. For this process, you will be transferring information from the Forms 1099A to the Forms 1099 OID with a few adjustments. Just a few adjustments. How to fill out the 1099 OID. Now that you have completed the Form 1099A process and given the IRS time to investigate your claims, this is when you fill it out. Starting with the first box labeled payer's name, enter the borrower's information, name, address, etc., as recorded on your Form 1099A. The payer's federal ID number, leave blank unless known. Recipient's ID number, enter your SSN in standard form, 123-45-6789. Recipient's name, enter the lender's information as recorded on Form 1099A in proper English, upper and lower case. Example, John E. Doe. Not all capitalized. Then the natural person name. The same should be done with your address information. Account number. This will be the same account transaction information recorded on the Form 1099A. Now you go back to the Form 1099 OID. Go back to the top. Box 1, original issue discount. This would be the amount entered in Box 2. Box 4 of your Form 1099A. Box 2 and Box 4. Box 2, you leave blank. Box 3, you leave blank. Box 4, federal income tax withheld. Enter amount recorded in Box 1 unless the transaction is from an account from which cash could be acquired. Checking or saving accounts. In this case, subtract 10% from the amount recorded in Box 1 if it's a cash or savings account. Take off 10%. Box 5 description. Enter your straw man name in all caps. Enter the sole proprietorship name. Box 6 and 7 you leave blank. Once completed, the information on these Forms 1099 OID need to be entered onto a Form 1096. This form will serve as the cover letter for your Form 1099 OIDs after completed. The process to fill out the 1096 for the Forms 1099 OID are the same as follows for the 1099A with a couple changes. Follow the 1096 instructions above up to Box 3. Box 3 on this 1096 should be the same as Box 3 the 1096 fill out for the Forms 1099A. Now Box 4, federal income tax withheld. Total of all Box 4s on your Form 1099 OID. If you notice, you will see Box 4 on your OID is also titled federal income tax withheld. Box 5, total amount reported with this Form 1096. Total of all boxes on your Forms 1099 OID. Box 6, enter an X in only one box. Place an X, not a check mark, in the box labeled 1099 OID. Box 7, and this is your final return. Place an X on it. Now, 1040. It's a little bit different. I went over it already. We just went over the 1040 forms. This is, it shows you exactly what to do. And you can get these off the website, at the IRS website, or go to an IRS office. As you complete this form, please keep in mind that you are filing as a creditor and not a debtor. You will take claim, no exemptions or credits. So label, fill out as you would for a standard filing using your all caps for your entry, your sole proprietor name, your filing status. For the sake of ease and simplicity, please check Box 1, single. Exemptions, you will take no exemptions, okay? The process is for creditors only. Income, enter on line 7 for your income, enter information from your W-2, wages, salaries, tips, etc. Line 21, on the blank line, enter C 1099 OID. In the box on the same line, enter the total from Box 4 of the forms. of the 1096 completed for your Forms 1099 OID. Federal income tax withheld. Line 22. Enter the total from box on line 21. Adjusted gross income. Skip to line 37. Line 37. Enter the total from box on line 21. On taxes and credits, skip to this section. Line 38. Enter the total from line 37 per the instructions. Line 40. Enter 0. Line 41. Enter total from line 38. Line 43, 44, 46, 55, and 56, enter 0. Other taxes, skip to line 61. Line 61, enter 0. Payments, line 62 and 71, enter total from line 38. And on the refund, line 72 and 73A, enter the total from line 38. The remaining entries ask where you wish to have your refund sent and other information. It's highly suggested you have your funds directly deposited into a business bank account. Please follow the instructions to complete the Forms 1040. Sign the bottom of your return as the authorized representative and you're done. See the Form 1040 instructions for your proper filing location. And don't staple anything. If you got the book, it has the templates in there. Exactly what you would do under John E. Doe in the business names, Auto Finance, whatever it is you're supposed to do. And that's how you get that done, right there. So, explanation of the Form 1099 OID and the Form 1040V voucher and what impact it has on your alleged income tax liability. These are the theories, okay? So, instructions for the 1099 OID state as the form to be completed by real estate mortgage investment conduits, okay? And also financial asset securitization investment trusts, stocks and bonds and brokers, and any other institutions authorized by Congress to convert notes, bonds, and other securities into M1 liquidity, which turns it into a liquid asset, okay? So, that's what an M1 does. The 1099 OID original issue deals with our credit as collateral for newly created money. And, that which is created by the use of our social security number, even though all old money already in circulation, was already created with our credit through a pool or block grant. So original issue would include all mortgages, bonds, certain securities, car loans, and the like. On the other hand, the Form 1040V would be to cover other numerous types of transactions that have not been directly funded by us. Those which are not funded by or signed by us in future contracts, notes, credit applications, and such future contracts. Rather, the Form 1040V is used for instant use with recirculated money in bills and statements for products by corporations not governmental approved nor licensed to create money, such as Fannie and Freddie. This is what we are doing to cleanse all the money so it's no longer contraband. It has been accounted for, in other words, appropriated to the proper debtor-taxpayer fiction. So when you have money and you haven't filed the taxes, it is contraband. You're operating in it's fraud. You're not supposed to have money if you didn't even report it. So it would seem that the 1099 OID, when declared on the 1040 as that which must be returned to the source, declared in the total amounts of income on line 21 of the 1040, that we are due the refund. And the recipients are the ones required to declare on the returns of the credit they withheld from us as their income. All the money created using our credits, labors, assets as collateral. This is the refunding to us by the IRS, thus making the IRS a pass-through clearinghouse for the allocations of the funds to the proper accounts at the U.S. Treasury and be properly applied to their respective accounts, thus bringing your account to zero, your balance in the books. Next, the back of the recipient's copy of the 1099 OID states as follows. Carol, peace and love. Thank you for the donation. Peace and love. I appreciate everybody. Again, I said the best way to send a donation is through the Cash App. I appreciate you, Michael. I appreciate you, ST. I appreciate you, William. I appreciate you, Nabalungu Brister. Peace and love. I appreciate you, Mark. Peace and love. Sophia, peace and love. Aldrich, peace and love. Cynthia, peace and love. Zach, peace and love. Mike again, peace and love. Abdul, peace and love. Brian Austin, peace and love. Delroy, peace and love. Michael Pittman, peace and love. I appreciate you. Brandon, peace and love. Raymond, peace and love. Leo, peace and love. 95, peace and love. Trisha, peace and love. More Web Ops, peace and love. Shantae, peace and love. G, peace and love. Olivia, peace and love. Andre, peace and love. Yasmin, peace and love. Ariel, peace and love. I appreciate your donations. You can leave a donation at the Cash App, MoreBeauty7, MOORBEAUTY7, or go to DonKilam.com/donate. So on the back of the original issue discount is the excessive of an obligator's stated redemption price and maturity over its issue price, acquisition price. OID is taxable as interest over the life of the obligation. If you are the holder of an OID obligation, generally you must include an amount of the OID in your gross income each year you hold the obligation. Obligations that may have OID include a bond, debenture, note, certificate, or other evidence of indebtedness having a term of more than 1 year. For example, the OID rules may apply to certificates of deposit, time deposits, bonuses, saving plans, and other deposit arrangements, especially if the payment of the interest is deferred into maturity. In addition, the OID rules apply to Treasury inflation index securities. So you have to file this on these securities. These notes are considered securities. So I'm going through why this has to be done. And if you get the book, it breaks it down step by step with the templates. Now, what I want to go over, when also dealing with these people, if you're following along in the book, you're going to want to go to page 113. This is another form of status correction on the private side. So you got your status correction on the public side, and you got your status correction on the public side. Now we got status correction documents that we file, such as non-taxpayer affidavits and your durable power of attorney, general in fact. Your revocation of all previous powers of attorneys, and your pledge securities and collateral to the United States. We show you how to get those back and put that you're a friend of the United States and no longer an enemy. But once this is done, when dealing with these tax issues, you're going to want to fill out. This is what we do. It's a W-8 BEN, a W-8 B-E-N. W-8 BEN, a certificate of foreign status of a non-resident alien of the United States for tax withholding purposes. And you're going to want to put your live man name. So it would be John-Smith, semicolon, of the family of Doe, or the tribe of Doe. You're going to put that you're a transient foreigner. Your permanent address, I would put the virtual address that you set up for your business. But for the city and state, how they did theirs in the template in the book, they put all lowercase, New York State. You put your state, you just put state after the name of the state. Then put zip exempt. Then put non-domestic inhabitant. And then you would put your capacity in which you're acting. They put national U.S. And I just put the name in all capitalized letters when signing. So the W-8 BEN, when we say change your filing status in the title of this section, we don't mean to suggest that changing documentation is going to change who or what you lawfully and truly are. Nor are we suggesting that you misrepresent your status or any of your lawful choices. Instead, we're referring to the fact that you have been unknowingly filling out the wrong tax form. The IRS Form 1040 for most of your adult life, in doing so, has caused the IRS to believe facts that were not, in fact, true about you. At this point in your life, you have followed the previous steps. You now know that. So this is what you got to know. You, as a person born within a state of the Union outside of exclusive federal jurisdiction, are a non-resident non-person, a national, under 8 U.S.C. 1101, A-21, subsection A-21, and not a U.S. citizen, such as under 8 U.S.C. 1401. Number 2, the RSC, subtitle A, income taxes have a income taxes are domiciled in the District of Columbia as a prerequisite, in that you don't have a domicile there and are therefore a non-resident non-person. You are a non-resident non-person because you're not domiciled in the District of Columbia. These are the rules. The only people who can lawfully and correctly file the IRS Form 1040 are those with a domicile in the District of Columbia, which includes residents and U.S. citizens who are temporary abroad and come under 26 U.S.C. 911. The only thing that can go on IRS Form 1040 is trade or business income from sources within the United States, which is defined as District of Columbia in 26 U.S.C. 7701, subsection A9 and A10. Most people don't have trade or business income because most people do not have contracts or employment with the federal government. Therefore, the W-2 and 1099 forms filed against them are false and need to be amended. Non-resident aliens can elect to be treated as residents under 26 U.S.C. 6013G, which is the only case in which they can lawfully file IRS Form 1040. Otherwise, the only form they can file is IRS Form 1040-NR. When you understand, those who have and use Social Security numbers are all treated as federal employees. Your government is either a thief or you are a public officer for income tax purposes. So once all this stuff is done, this is what you need to get done. You need to file this WA bin. This is what I would do. That earnings in connection with a trade or business essentially are earnings as a federal employee, contractor, or agent. You are not a taxpayer if you have no earnings connected to a trade or business. Therefore, every piece of IRS correspondence that comes to you which says "Dear Taxpayer" is not addressing you. The only people who need government numbers are federal employees, contractor agents, and taxpayers. Since you are none of these, the identifying number in nearly every government record about you is simply wrong and needs to be eliminated. And I'll show you how to do that. It goes down deep on how to do that. The WA bin, that's just one way. And how to talk to financial institutions and start acting under the right status. You have to start operating under the right status. If you're not operating under the right status, you're not going to have standing, and they're always going to look at you as a slave. And it's due to your programming. It's due to the things that you know. So you have to start getting around the people that are actually moving and doing things. It doesn't matter if they know. It doesn't matter if they don't know. But at least they're attempting. Get yourself around those people. Get yourself around those people that are learning. There's way more pages to the book. The book that I offer on TheDonKilam.com is 218 pages. We also accept Bitcoin. But here's some of the things that I also want to go over and mention that a lot of people are not going to tell you. So, when you're attaching these cover letters, before you file your 1099 OID, when you're requesting the W-9s, you're going to want to file an affidavit of fraudulent form for the 1099. All right? And this is an official criminal complaint. It's not going to be an informational return under 26 U.S.C. 6041. And this is all labeled on the form, and this template is in the book. It states right on the form the non-taxpayer identifying number and the status of the submitter. It's letting you know that they're committing fraud, and we're letting them know that we will file this. So again, that's called an affidavit of fraudulent form for the 1099. And it's an official criminal complaint form. Also, an affidavit of citizenship, domicile, and tax status. We also attach this with our W-8 bin. And it's just a simple form. It's, I mean, it's pretty lengthy. It's 28 pages. It's a 28-page form that you want to file that goes along with all of this. So you're in your right capacity, whether your status is updated or not. Because if you're operating in commerce, you're going to have to learn how to operate. And this is our instruction booklet in the definitions of what's going on. And then you're also going to want to include a United States tax exemption form. You include this for them. This is a GSA form. You leave it blank. It's a standard form 1094. You leave it blank, you give it to them, a United States tax exemption form. And it's for the adjustment of your taxes. And they're going to file it for you. You send all this. You just got to make sure the forms are in there. And they take care of it for you. And then the report of real property available for transfer to federal agencies. And that is going to be a standard form 13327. Again, that's standard form 13327, and that's prescribed by Section 408 of the Public Law 109-396. And these are the things that need to be included for you to get to the prize, to get your eye on the prize, on the right stuff, on what it is that you actually need, for what it is that you're supposed to be, that's yours, the original issue of your discounts. That's what I got for you guys today, man. I appreciate y'all. If y'all find this information of value, leave a donation at donkilam.com/donate. Again, that's donkilam.com/donate. The Cash App is morebeauty7, MOORBEAUTY7. This class will be every first Friday and Saturday of the month. If you're in this class and you want to work with me directly, I will assist you and help guide you for 20% of your original issue discount, and show you the correct steps, and show you what I've done, and what many others have done, and allow you to talk to those people as well, and other people that's done this, so you can see what works and don't work, so you can start getting that cash, so you can start getting that moolah, because seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. Y'all see me get the black card. Got the black card. It's easy. $250,000 you have circulate through a business account, and then American Express and other black card agencies will contact you. And it's not hard, especially when you're accessing the right things. They're going to come talk to you. They're going to see what you know. They'll sit down. Don't be scared to sit down and talk with your private bank manager once you know what to say and what to do, and then they're more keen to open up doors to you and open up different lines of credit. You're just going in there filing UCC1s without knowing what you're doing. It's going to block your prosperity. It's going to keep you away from the prize, so you need to understand and understand and overstand. Like I said, man, much peace and love. I appreciate y'all, man. I got to get back, so I'm doing private meetings. I'm in California for the next week or so. And then I'm going to Texas, okay? And then Baton Rouge. And go to TheDonKilam.com. You don't want to miss it, man. I appreciate everybody that shows the boy love, man. Also, the private meetings with the screen share to show you the templates and everything that's going on. If you want to see it and have access to that, you're going to want to become a member, a Don Status member or higher on DonKilam.com on the YouTube. Also, there's other videos that I show for everybody that can't become a Don Status member. There's other videos that I show that's going to give you just as much as the great information. You just might have to watch 2 or 3 videos and put it all together. But this video right here is jam-packed. I left it for the public. And just make sure, sign up, become a Don Status member so you can get the visuals as well. And I'm going to continue doing this. The color law class is not going to be open to the public, but it will be open to the Don Status members. Much peace and love. Remember, prosperity is your birthright. Peace.